Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Zoobox Goes to the Movies. It's me, Shaun, and I'm
Yeah.
with,
Yeah.
he's with
I, th-
Dan.
I, th- I thought you
He's
were
like,
just gonna do the little like maybe pause.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Got that high def. Let's do this.
Dan's, he's got a new high def camera. He's coming in clear as a bell, clear as a whistle. This man, I've never seen so many blemishes in my entire life. Actually, you got pretty good skin.
I do have pretty good skin. Yeah.
Yeah, like especially because you're a smoker too. So
Yeah.
usually your skin is, can be
I
affected
wash.
by that.
I wash my face. I guess enough.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay. This is. Yeah.
Oh, this is not the place for hot skin
No.
talk.
No.
Skincare talk.
No.
Well, you could do skincare while you're watching one of the movies we discussed today.
I could.
You could be there to get with those lotions. You get like or American Psycho. You ever see that?
Oh
Film,
yeah.
Film Connection. That man had fantastic skin. Really took care of himself.
He did. He was fantastic and in every way.
And he gave those people what they deserved.
Yeah. What do you do when you have a city who ignores mental illness? Whatever, fucking.
You kill the
Joker
rich
speech.
people. And and then everybody's like, in the audience, like, yeah, I guess so. Movie's insidious, my friend. It's like Joker is like watching a Bernie Sanders like speech.
Yeah.
Because it's front loaded with all this emotional stuff and like the downtrodden and the poor and mental health and these things are rights and we should give these to people. And then at the end of it, he's just like, and we're gonna take it from you. Like
Yeah.
you belong to us. That's the so I guess this is
It's a decent segue into Parasite.
Parasite, yeah. Just before we talk about Parasite, I just wanted to mention I watched a couple Netflix movies, and the thing about Netflix movies is they get buried really fast because they come out and then they kind of nobody ever talks about them after they come out. But I
Yeah,
watched,
unless Marriage Story. That was like the biggest one,
yeah,
I
because
guess.
that kind of broke through into the mainstream. It had hit the festival circuit beforehand, so it had a little bit more life. Like it was out there. Because of the director, it got a little more attention.
And that's the only way it can be eligible for the Oscars, right?
He has to play in a theater, for
Yeah.
like 2 weeks or something.
Yeah. A certain number, too.
Yeah, because sometimes you'll get these indie movies or movies they just want to qualify for like whatever Oscars is coming up. They will do like a limited release in one theater for like 10 days.
Yeah.
You see that a lot with like 1917 was like that. I remember a few years ago, The Revenant. Like you could only see it in like 3 theaters for a month before it came out. And yeah. But no, I just want to highlight these real quick. Nothing, I'm not going to get into them. But I was just really pleasantly surprised by them. I got in a weird medieval mood. I think watching the Green Knight trailer put me in the mood to watch like medieval movies or something.
Yeah.
I was gonna watch John Borman's Excalibur because it's cheesy but excellent. Then I found myself I stumbled upon The King, about Henry V. Really, really good, great movie, great production value, great performances, kind of an interesting story. I didn't really know much about the history of it, so it was actually interesting from that perspective. And then I did a double header with this medieval stuff. Another Netflix film came out around the same time, maybe a little bit before, Outlaw King with Chris Pine.
Yeah.
Which
I
is
heard that was actually pretty good, I heard.
It's basically the sequel to Braveheart.
I heard it's pretty good.
Takes place like right after like around when William Wallace dies, and then what happens after that. Because famously, Mel Gibson really, really kind of reconfigured that story to make it more like a mythic tale. Like a lot, it's very historically inaccurate. That movie. I like Braveheart. Actually, that's on my. I'm going to be watching that soon because I'm like now I got to go back and watch Braveheart. I haven't seen Braveheart in forever.
God, I don't know. I have seen Braveheart so many times, dude.
Me too. But
I've seen it at least 100 times in my life or something.
After you watch Outlaw King, though, you'll be like, man, I gotta go watch some Braveheart.
Well, I guess we'll have to see.
It wasn't Outlaw King is not as good as The King. The King was the better of the two movies, but Outlaw King is not too shabby. Same director, I can't remember his name right now. The same director who did Hell or High Water a couple years ago, also starring Chris Pine.
Chris Pine, yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So social politics, class, Bernie Sanders, America, Korea.
Yeah.
Hot topic today: Parasite, Bong Joon-ho's film. Bong Joon-ho's been a director I've liked for a very long time. His first like movie, Memories of a Murder, excellent like little murder mystery movie that takes place in a Korean village. A lot of people in America will probably know him best from The Host. If you've seen one of his movies, it's probably either The Host or Snowpiercer.
Or Mother.
Well,
I thought Mother was pretty big.
I'm saying most people probably would have seen Snowpiercer because Chris Evans was in it.
And Okra, or whatever the hell that.
Okja.
Okja, yeah.
Okja came. That was a Netflix movie that came out like 2 years ago. And as his career's gone on, he's gotten more and more kind of like political, overtly political in his movies. Like Okja's about environmentalism, about like what do you call it? Factory farming, basically. And Mother was kind of about like elder abuse and like how societies don't respect old people.
Mm-hmm.
And now we got Parasite. So I've seen I saw Parasite twice. I saw it when it first came out, and then I actually bought it. It was like there's like a buy two one get one deal. So I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll get Parasite. And so what did you think of Parasite, Dan?
I thought it was good. I really enjoyed it. Good. It's a dark comedy, in a sense. So I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, that's I think if you could say anything about this guy's movies, whether you end up liking the final product, they are like meticulously put together. Kind of reminds me of like David Fincher movies, where you feel like every single shot, frame, everything is like very, very choreographed.
Yeah, they mapped it out really well.
Yeah. It's almost like it feels like you're watching like a dance, like a tone poem almost, like the way some of those sequences unfold. Like it's really the symmetry, the visual symmetry is like kind of incredible.
It's got to be hard to do to keep it together.
Yeah,
you got to be really on your shit. So, and I thought the performances were amazing. I really enjoyed all of them.
Yeah.
The father was really good. The guy that played the father of the lower class family.
That guy's awesome. He's a pretty famous Korean actor. Like you've noticed, if you've seen other Korean movies like that have made it over here, like he's in the first part of the Vengeance trilogy. Have you ever seen Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance? Mm-hmm. He's the main guy from that. He's in The Host. He's like one of the main dudes from The Host. He was in Snowpiercer.
He's in all those like pretty big, I guess, commercially successful.
Yeah, the ones that
Korean
we would know over here. Like he's usually in them.
So he's one of the bigger actors in Korea then.
I think so. I mean, as far as you can be a big actor in Korea. I don't know what it's like to be a celebrity in South Korea, if that means the same. I don't think it means the same thing as it does here. I mean, you're probably
I don't know.
You're living a little higher on the hog, but you're not like a millionaire. I don't know.
No, well, I mean the disparity in how much movies cost to make over there. I think they made that movie for 13 billion Korean currency, which equates to 13 million US dollars.
Oh no, Parasite. Yeah, it was about 13 million. The most expensive one in history is Snowpiercer at about 40 million. 40 million US.
Yeah. So I don't know how much money they make over there, but it's probably not as much. I mean, it's a smaller version of Hollywood, but I'm sure they're very well off in comparison to.
Yeah, comparison to the poors. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they know how those people smell.
Yeah.
Like in the film.
Yeah, like in the film.
You say, hey, man, wash up, buddy. Wash up before you come to work. He's like, I did. And you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think the movie really was well balanced. You could even have some sort of sympathy for every character, but then you really think about it. I guess before we get into spoilers, I'll just say that for me, I would give the movie a 7.5 at 8. I really enjoyed it, so I would definitely recommend. Go check it out. Go watch it. It's definitely one of those movies that it's subtitled, so you're forced to pay attention more than, because you could put on a movie that's got, English as the main language, and you can kind of just, I'll look at my phone for a second and kind of pay attention. You know, so this kind of takes away the ability to do that, which I actually really, that's why I do like watching foreign language films with subtitles. And not to mention the performances just come through better when you actually hear it spoken in native tongue.
Oh, for sure, 100%. I mean, dubbing has gotten better than it was like
Oh,
back
yeah.
in the 90s and 80s and stuff,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's no replacement for the actual
Well,
performance.
well, I was reading a little bit about it, and the director is really somehow very connected to this person who's a Korean American that basically reviews Korean film, and I guess it's very popular. And they work together to try to make it so that the translation is as close as possible to like
Yeah, yeah.
English. So the way they structure things, even in the movie, is that you're getting the closest accurate portrayal of what they're actually saying
Well,
in
because they
Korean translated to English.
well, because they also have to slightly adjust for cultural context so that we understand things a little bit better. I do think like I've watched so many Korean movies that I'm very comfortable with. Like I know more about Korean culture than I would know more any like just through watching movies,
Yeah.
Korean movies. Um, so some of the cultural context I think that might be lost on some people. But they a lot of times when you do subtitles, they recontextualize things or they change references and stuff so that people can understand that. But like I think what they were getting at there is that they don't do that in Bong Joon Ho's movies. He's like it is what they're saying.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think that's kind of what why this director works with this person. I guess he works with this person very closely on all his films,
Yeah.
as far as I guess trying to get it across the the pond or whatever to make sure that it's relatable in a sense, or the dialogue works and the structure. I didn't necessarily read into it too much, but I thought that was interesting that he even looks at for outside resources. Um, and I know the director in this film, one of the central uh, pieces is the house.
Yeah,
And
that's a big it's the big set piece of the movie.
yeah,
Everything
yeah,
happens in the house pretty much. Before we get to spoilers, I also really like this movie. I don't it's not my favorite Bong Joon-ho movie. Um, I think that's probably still Mother. But I did really enjoy Parasite, even if I think it's a little confused. I think it's a little dissonant, and I think it almost like forgets what the larger point is of its own movie at the end, and just kind of takes a weird, not a weird turn. It's a turn that you can kind of see coming, but I do think it creates a dissonance with the subtext about what it's about. We'll get into some of that with spoilers, but I agree. I would give it about a 7.5, 7.5. More than I'm not sure if it should have won 2 Best Picture awards in one night. I think it's like as the best foreign film, sure. Although you look at the other movies and I don't know what would have been a better choice. Honestly, this is it technically is like a masterpiece on a technical level. Just the way everything comes together, just the from the cinematography to the performances to um, how just like elegant it is. It doesn't beat you over the fucking head. I mean, you get the point of the movie, but at no time did I ever feel like it was really shoving it down my throat hardcore. And there are some pretty extreme moments in the movie where you think you would feel that way. I'm not sure if that's just like the cultural distance that I have from it, so I just don't feel it as much because it was in a different language. That could be possible. But I'm just happy nobody like looks into the camera and says, "Yo, capitalism's bad."
I never
Even
really got that vibe though from it.
from the movie.
No, I didn't get any. I know it's about class, obviously, but I never got the vibe that it tried to necessarily depict the rich as bad people.
No, it doesn't. That's why I think it's
But
a weird disconnect towards the end of the movie. Because
I,
I do think it makes it actually a very interesting conversation when you're like, even though these people are part of the same culture, like that class divide makes them from different worlds. They just don't even see the world in the same way at all. I mean, honestly, if you wanted to make an argument, like the poor people are kind of the villains for most of the movie.
well, and that's well. I mean, what was your perspective on what is the message? What is the message of this movie for you?
I think it's really confused at the end. I think it's about obviously about class conflict and the differences between mindset of classes and what is important to them, or what's apparent to one is not apparent to the other, and vice versa. And I do think it's definitely talks about capitalism in terms of its materialism and how that controls people's lives. How people kind of view their self-worth and value by how much they're able to make and what they're able to get. Like that's a part. That's part of the. In my opinion, that was part. And I have not read a ton of criticism on this, so I'm just talking about what I think.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But I think you see that in the beginning of the movie. Because that's how, being a poor person. I understand where they're coming from. I get it. Like, you want things. You don't want to be where you're at sometimes. Like, I get it. But I don't know, what was your read on the movie? What did you not think that, or did you just see it as more of just like kind of more of a straightforward?
Well, I think the title says a lot about what the theme or with the overall viewpoint of,
for sure, yeah.
The being the name being Parasite. Who is
the parasite?
I think the parasite is greed, because I guess we'll get into spoilers a little bit here. I mean, we're already kind of going down that path, so
we're in spoiler territory.
Yeah, definitely in spoiler territory. Honestly, no, I can't remember any of the names because I don't know Korean.
I call them all Odaisu. That's the only Korean name I can ever remember from an old boy.
Well, the son, the main central figure in the beginning of the film, that is kind of really the focal point that draws all this, it pushes the story forward in almost every aspect. The son, I guess, would say is the main character. To me,
it's an ensemble, but he's the plot mover.
Yeah, absolutely. He's the big plot mover. Absolutely. So he invades through some varying ways to get into this rich person, to get this job, to teach the daughter English and everything. So he himself is the parasite because he is the one that has invaded the home. So like the family is the parasite, but the parasite within the family is greed. So because all right, think about it. The guy got one over him, the son. The son got one over by forging documents to make it look like he's, somebody or whatever.
Yeah.
He is very good at English, yada, yada, yada. He invades their home because these rich people, whether the classes or not, it doesn't really matter. It's that the poor people invaded. So like technically, like they came in, he already had a good paying job, but what did he want? He wanted his sister to get involved. So he gets his sister there. Then they get the driver fired, and then the driver is taken over by the father. Then the father is a suggestion, right? And you can sit there and go, well, how far is too far? Well, now they're doing to climb the social ladder, or survival, because they were in a very desperate place prior to this. So like it's understandable from the viewpoint of what, from the viewer. But they're also destroying people's lives.
Well, that's the thing. I think, in the towards the end of the second act of the movie, it is revealed like what happened to what the other housekeeper's deal was, the one they poisoned.
Yeah.
And they find out her husband lives in the basement because he's like hiding from loan sharks, and he's a one of my favorite parts of the movie is when he's they have him hogtied or whatever, and he's smashing his head on the light button.
Respect.
No, but anyways, what it shows you, because it actually even has like a visual element of like the layers of status. So what that reveals is like, even though these people thought they had it bad, they don't got it bad as these people. Like, you can always go lower. You can always be worse off. That was kind of the point to me. And in some respects, we all have these social parasitic relationships. Even the rich people kind of rely on their help.
Yeah.
Because they're so fucking oblivious. That's how they could be exploited, is because they're so naive, because they do not think about the world in the same way that a person that has to worry about the things that a regular person has to worry about. So they're able to exploit that and exploit kind of the cultural norms of even the kind of being a rich person and the expectation of what it's supposed to look like when you're a rich person. That's why the wife is like hypersensitive to kind of the optics of her life, and it allows her to be manipulated.
Yes, I also think the greatest disconnect between the rich and the poor, like, is basically the impact of the job, right? She could easily, she's like, hey, I'll just dismiss them for some bullshit reason. All these workers that worked for them, which she just saw it as not a big deal, but ultimately destroying lives. And that's where, well, the father is probably the only one that maybe has some sort of moral quandary
With the rich
about
one
it.
or the poor dad?
The poor dad. Poor dad is the only one that has some sort of moral quandary about, the driver's probably fine, right? He's probably okay.
Yeah.
And he's asking because basically the family goes on this camping trip, right? And which I thought was going to happen anyway. I'm like, this family's going to come back early. It's just setting it up to be perfect. But the message, I think the father, because what he obviously eventually does, which is when he kills Mr. Park, I think that's his name, like the rich guy is Park, and he kills him. And is it out of anger? Is it out of disgust? Is it out of and that's really where I think it's up to interpretation as to why he did it.
I think it's a generational thing, and it's like this idea of shame and humiliation and respect. Like, this guy does not respect him at all. Like, he's just a fucking guy. He works for him, and you're gonna do whatever I tell you.
Yeah.
And I think you smell bad.
Yeah. Which
Like,
the smell is interesting.
Well,
it's
the
a really
smell.
interesting
It's
theme.
because it's so visceral that everybody understands it.
Yeah, because who hasn't met a person with some sort of mental disorder
That smells like shit. Yeah.
No, like I remember, I don't remember the gentleman, the young man, but when I was in high school, we had a guy that literally did not bathe.
Yeah.
That's one of like the key defining factors in someone that has a mental disability is the lack of hygiene. And
Yeah, it's a big red flag. Yeah.
when you're seriously, messed up. And I mean, even seeing young people in the military where they don't bathe, usually men, and dude, and I'm telling stinky like stink, and that smell, I knew exactly what smell he was talking about. But he didn't. He viewed the rich guy viewed it as a sign of or a lack of self-care, lack of self-worth, which they don't. And that's probably the way he viewed it, because to him now it's impeding on his life. It's crossing the line.
Yeah. Like, why would you come to work smelling like that? Kind
Like
of thing. Which
it's a musty.
But I think they're making more of a reference to poor people's soap.
Oh,
it's just like this immediate visceral thing because your mind went to where it went, but we all have this visceral thing where you're like, yeah, okay, so these people you have to buy the cheap soap. They still smell like a little. They smell a little BO-y.
They do necessarily bring that up, but it's more about the basement smell. That's why they all smell the same. It's not necessarily the soap.
No. The basement smell is like when you go even lower, because now those people.
No, they live in a basement.
The
poor family.
No, I know that.
But they do bring it up.
I don't think it's meant to be as maybe as literal as that. I think
I agree, but I think it's that smell of the subhuman, like you're saying, the levels, the people that ride the subways, they have to be below ground,
and it's just like
a metaphor for all.
And the way that the family, the poor family, reacts to the guy hiding in the basement of the fallout shelter of the house or whatever,
and he's the lowest of filth.
Yeah, he's filthy and he's disgusting. They're disgusted by it. Like,
well, also he probably really stank as well.
It's also one of the best sequences in the movie. When the lady's trying to get up the fucking holy shit with she's got the peach allergy and her face is all swollen, and they have that one part where she almost gets up and she's coming out of the shadows. And then the mother of the poor family just fucking kicks her down the stairs and keeps going.
Dude, and it was so balanced. That was, and like you said, it is like a play or a dance.
It was like a dance. It's like poetry. Yeah. It's like visual poetry. It's awesome. That is what I love about a lot of these like really talented Korean filmmakers. They have a really, really, really good eye for symmetry.
And I think also space.
Yes. Yeah. How they use space.
Space is so hard to pull off in film.
I mean, you
That's
like
one of the hardest things to do.
you really like the Vengeance trilogy, right? Chan-wook Park,
Yeah.
Old
Talk.
Boy,
Yeah.
the Old
Yeah.
Boy and stuff like that. That's
No sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Lady Vengeance. Yeah.
those are Korean movies, and
I know.
it has the same kind of feeling. I feel like this
Yeah.
guy is way more mannered than Chan-wook Park is, but the way they utilize, like you said, like space
Yeah.
and adding the dimensionality to it and adding like separating out places so you feel like you're actually like moving through the space with the characters.
Yeah.
It's not like flat, you know what I mean? Like seriously, if you watch a TV show and they fucking pan across a room or you fall,
It's nothing.
it's like
Yeah.
flat and lifeless.
Hmm.
And this is just the way they light everything. It's so awesome.
I mean, and that's what I'm saying. It really I don't see how the movie is confusing because I have somewhat of a theory is that is not the ending is not necessarily real or
No,
factual.
I don't think it's real. It's the
Yeah.
dream. It's the dream
It's the dream, you know.
of becoming a capitalist monster.
Yeah.
Not even
Uh,
shitting. Gotta save your father from the dungeon, dude. Like everything's Jordan Peterson. Oh,
yeah. Well, yeah. No, but I thought it was a little more just saying that's never gonna happen. That's never gonna happen. You're never gonna reach that
yeah,
point.
he has fucking brain damage. Like it's a pipe dream. Like
Well, he does have some sort of brain damage, absolutely, but you don't know how much of it is. He's obviously not mentally challenged or anything.
I don't
He
think
had
you know. You don't know because
well,
you're seeing it from his perspective. So he's not telling you that he's got brain damage. You're just seeing like what his vision is of like what he wants to happen
yeah,
because it's his POV.
right. No, most definitely. I don't know. I just think that the movie itself is
Listen,
it
man,
raises it doesn't raise very many complicated questions.
You can't stab people because they smell bad because they don't like the way you smell. Okay, you can't
Yeah.
do it. Not allowed.
No, you shouldn't do that. But I do like how the father, when they're so long story short, there's a very large rainstorm, and they end up going back home, and their entire place is flooded, and they're having to go because they live in a basement, subhuman, in that sense. So they're ended up being in that gymnasium, and he's carrying that rock. The son has the rock with him, and they're laying next to each other, and they have that conversation with the father, basically stating that, do you know what the best plan is? No plan. He's like, because if you make plans,
Disappointment happens.
Well, disappointment. That those plans have to change, so it's better to go in with no plan. So I think him at the end having no plan at all is what led to his survival, because he stabbed the rich guy. Bugs the fuck out of there, scatters like a cockroach. A lot of good foreshadowing in this movie. And then he scurries himself back into the house, and he ends up being basically held prisoner there.
Yeah.
It's that kind of like just really connected with me when I was watching. I was like, oh man, like not having a plan, kind of fumble fucking your way through it. There's still a conclusion there. There's still a conclusion whether you had a plan or not. There is an end point.
Oh, everything comes to an end. There will a solution, quote unquote, will present itself, whether it's something you like or not.
Yeah.
I do think it's a little nihilistic in the sense of like, don't make plans because you might be disappointed. You'll be disappointed because it's not going to work out the way you think it will.
Let's just say he was on the verge of being a broken man. I mean, obviously he wouldn't have just stabbed the.
Just grow up, guy.
Yeah, just grow up, man. Pull yourself by your bootstraps, man.
Yeah.
Some right-wing talking points, but I definitely can sit there and say that there is a definite theme throughout the world, and it's probably always been there, where the lower class, is feel. I mean, I'm just taking history right now, Western civilization, and it's really the same old dog and pony show every couple hundred years. I mean, you have the low class fighting with the upper class or the high class.
Cyclical, yeah.
It is cyclical, but it's necessary. It's absolutely necessary for it to happen.
Yeah, because I mean, people can get carried away on either end of an extreme.
Yeah.
So everybody should be there. Their presence sometimes can keep things in check. Where I think the dissonance of the movie comes in is that, like, suddenly I just don't buy, like, how they just kind of make the rich father like really becomes like a villain in the last 5 minutes, and it's because he's acted the same way he's acted since the beginning of the fucking movie, and suddenly I'm supposed to be like, well, like, you did like get this job by being a
I
liar and a manipulator and making somebody lose their job. And
Right, but I don't think that they show him as a villain. Like, I never saw him as that they were trying to portray him as a villain. I mean, the guy's obviously freaking the fuck out. Like, give me but this is the thing. The reason why the guy was like, didn't give a shit about the other people dying, honestly, though, and you're in a moment of panic.
yeah,
You have a son. If someone else's
he
kid
might not
or
have
whatever,
have
but
registered what happened.
he didn't even care about any of that. But the poor father, the only perspective he had at the moment was that do I reveal who I really am and try to save my daughter, or do I, you know what I mean? So it was like this
Well,
weird.
no, because the thing was, if my memory serves me correct, it was a couple weeks ago when I rewatched it. That it's because basically the rich father is not trying to help the girl, his daughter that got stabbed, and he like is like,
But
what the fuck?
he doesn't know that it's his fucking daughter. He
Well,
doesn't
no,
know.
it doesn't matter if his daughter or not. It's like, why aren't you helping this person? Because that's when it comes into this idea that like we are different.
No, I don't take it that way.
I don't respect your existence the same way. I just don't have the same. I
Yeah.
don't even notice you. I don't even notice that you got stabbed. That's
it
why
would
I'm
be
saying it's fucking kind of stupid. It's a little silly.
No, it would be that stupid if it was another rich person, someone that's not related or something, like his somebody. But because it's his son, it takes precedence over everything else in that moment. As a father,
Yes,
I'm
no,
sure you would agree.
I agree with his reaction in the sense of like I can understand you're in this crazy moment, and what I'm saying is, but it's not made for you to feel that way. You're made to feel bad that he's not immediately going to the stabbed girl. That's the whole point of the scene.
I would say
I can intellectually, I understand that, like, yeah, as a father, you're going to be looking out for your little kid.
Well, I guess that's just the way I viewed it. Not that I didn't feel bad, but at the end of the day, these people put themselves in this position. It's all their fault.
Yeah,
so
but
like I'm watching the film and I'm going, this is all their fault.
See, but this is your disgusting libertarian views creeping through. Because basically, you know what the movie's saying at the end? Saying capitalism is evil because it pits people against each other. That's what it's saying. Because they're trying to climb the ladder, dude. They're trying to have their piece, their slice of the pie.
But they were too bold in their actions, and that's what led to their downfall.
But that's what I mean about it being like there's a dissonance between I don't
know
what is actually happening, and then you're like and then the message of the movie, you're like, these things don't add up the way you want them to.
I mean, I guess for me, it added a perfect. The movie is about greed.
Bernie
Parasite.
Sanders, Bernie Sanders voter confirmed.
Yeah.
Really got swept up in the Nevada debate, huh?
It does. Yeah. It does have that greed. It's all about greed. It's all about being selfish.
Yes, but
the rich family was being just as. They were the least selfish people there.
Well, because they already have what they have. They don't care about that stuff.
But that's the thing is you go. Okay, the bad people are the poor people. They're the bad ones.
That's because you're disgusting the libertarian.
No, but honestly, like they are the ones that decided to go on this.
At the end of the movie, you are supposed to be on their side.
I know. I'm not. 100% not on their side. And I'll tell you, maybe it's the ghoul in me. I don't know. But I know I fuck what they wanted me to feel. I don't care what they wanted me to. I'm sitting there like, obviously, man, dude, you just lost your daughter. That's really sad. This is awful. So you make a guttural reaction because you're mad at this guy because of the smell.
But these are things that are like relatable, right? And this is what kind of makes these kind of things, and like I alluded to at the top of the show, so it makes something like Bernie Sanders really insidious. It's because they're giving you all these. Don't you feel bad for these people? Don't you feel like, haven't you ever been there, man? Like, don't you know what this is like? And then, but at the end, their diagnosis of why it is that way is so fucking far off the map, because this is what the movie is telling you, that this kind of behavior is a product of a capitalist society that pits people against each other
I
for
don't know.
profit.
I don't get that vibe for it at all.
You
It's
are
come
incorrect.
the greed. I
Yes,
mean,
that's
maybe.
you're saying greed instead of capitalism.
No,
But
I know.
that's what you're. It's
No, but the
they're
greed
synonyms in this case.
greed doesn't have to do anything necessarily with money or social status. It can be the greed of the love of wanting, being greedy when it comes to when his friend said, the original teacher of the rich daughter, he's like, hey man, I'm kind of into her, but I'm sending you there because I really don't think, you would try to fuck me on this. I can trust you.
Sure.
And he breaks that trust. These people did everything. He breaks her privacy by reading a
Yes,
diary.
but
They
it's
do all
not
these
their
things.
fault, Dan, because they're
No,
poor, Dan.
but
They're
that's the
poor. They
thing.
can't help it, Dan.
No, and I'm not saying that
I'm
there's,
fucking
but it's
with
the
you.
I know you are, but it's the human innate nature to always try to fill that void. Whether you are poor or you're rich, you're going to try to fill that void. And if you want to call it gluttony, greed, one of the seven deadly sins, I'm sure you could fit it
Sure.
in there. But at the end of it, and maybe this movie is more about the seven deadly sins as far as lust, greed,
It's
or
about
gluttony,
well, okay. We can agree on
vengeance.
one thing. What we know it is about. It's about classism. Is number one. That's
Yeah.
all over this fucking movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
For
absolutely.
sure. I do think there is an incoherent critique of capitalism being the root of all evil. And then I do think it kind of makes excuses for the flat out kind of evil behavior of the protagonists, because it's not their fault. It's the circumstances. They're
Yeah.
poor. They live in a place. They can't find jobs. Like, so that I guess frees them of moral responsibility. And it's kind of weird to me a little bit.
I think it gives them.
I like that
You are.
family, by the way. I like those characters. I
I do
relate to
too.
those characters. All poor people are a little shady. Like,
But no, and honestly though, and that's really, um, oh shit, I forgot what I was gonna say. But it's gonna be basically. Oh man, I can't fucking remember. Shit. Oh well. No, you're good. That the family in itself, and yeah, I felt I had sympathy or empathy for their situation, absolutely, and probably would have done some of the same things
that's
that
what I'm
they did.
saying.
I'm not saying that's not a
But
reality.
we can intellectually understand that, like, oh, that's wrong, and you don't really, you don't get to say that it's okay because you're poor.
You're right, and I don't ever felt like that statement was made. I never felt like that the story directly correlated and said this is because of the rich and the poor. I think it was the disrespect the rich had towards the poor, and
Yes.
and like that's really I don't think a
I think
misunderstanding between the rich and poor.
no,
But
it's because rich people, like anybody of a higher class, is going to be like, yeah, we're not the same. We're not the same. And that's what that scene means when he
yeah,
says, like, oh, I noticed he smells this way. And he's like, because that's signaling to the audience, like, that guy thinks we're not the same. We're not peers. We're not, like, that's not what we are. We're not friends. We're not peers.
yeah.
We don't come from the same. We don't belong in
I
the
mean,
same
listen,
world, buddy.
I
Work
mean,
for me.
I get that. I lived in the most classist system you could possibly live in. I mean, honestly, it is basically structured into classes. It
Yeah,
is
Portland's pretty crazy.
yeah, Portland, right? Or the military. It is a class system. So you do have where, dude, I've met so many people that are just pieces of shit at the top, right? Or even in the
Yeah,
middle or
sure.
at the bottom. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, so you've had a real world example of like how this behavior manifests.
Sure, and I can completely agree that there are some things, but it's a reason to blame somebody for your own problems, you know. And I think that's really what this movie is trying to say, that well, they smell bad and they're just kind of lazy, or they're not good people, or they should never cross the line, because if they cross the line, then that means they think that they're on same terms or equal level as
Yeah.
me. Which I can get that. So there
That's
has to
why
be this sense of respect at all times.
well,
And
that's why for me it works so fucking well up until the birthday party at the end of the movie. Because it really does it. When you find out that those people are in the fucking fallout shelter, the basement, whatever you want to call it. When you find that out, that's telling you that, like, everybody is above somebody, and you can always be lower than you are. Like
Yeah.
it's supposed to be like a reality check, right?
Yeah.
And then the movie kind of just like throws that, like it didn't do it, it became really stupid and contrived, like in the final moments of the movie. Well, not the final moments, just that birthday party scene, because I like the kind of with the epilogue. I like that when the son's thinking about saving his dad, or reading the Morse code and stuff like that. Like I like that. um but getting there was a little, I just thought it almost like undermines the larger point of what you're doing, because the whole point of that scene is to be like, we're all parasitic, we're all part of this system, and we're all contributing it and doing it in different ways, which is not something I guess I 100% even agree with, but at least is consistent with what the movie is saying, the internal logic of the story. And I just thought, I don't know why. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe I could be wrong. I mean, because you didn't see that, you didn't think that, so.
I saw that I agree with the sentiment that the parasite is in all of us or whatever. That there is this, we are just the host for our own greed, our own destruction,
Well,
if we want it to be.
we all are
Because
parasitic to each other.
no, not even that. Well, like I'm saying, like the parasite is greed is inside of us, but really what it comes down to, because if the rich father, Park, was super respectful, hey man, like let's give you some more money, let's get you like, some new clothes, let's get you out of where you're at, that would have changed the dynamic of that relationship, right? But
Yeah.
since the parasite inside every single one of them was, I don't really care. I'm more about me. I'm selfish. I don't really think about anything other than what your role is in my life is to drive the car, to help out the family. And I think that's viewed a lot in our society today. It's like same thing with
Yeah, but that's why there's a circular parasitic nature to everybody's relationship with each other. Because
yeah.
the rich people can't live their lifestyle without the poor people. The poor people can't live their lifestyle without the rich people.
Yep.
And then it's kind of a circular thing.
Yeah.
And the movie is saying, in my opinion, the movie is just like, that's because of capitalism. That's because of the way,
Yeah, I
because
guess.
we value people. They're like commodities. We've commodified people. We've commodified, the old song and dance, the old Bernie Sanders stump speech.
Yeah, I don't
Bernie
know. I
Sanders
never really got the
loves
vibe.
Parasite. You know who hates Parasite? Donald J. Trump. They're
Probably.
talking about it at a rally for some reason. He's like, that movie with the Koreans? And they said, what? That won the Oscar? What?
Oh yeah, he did say something.
Like, why?
He's like,
Why are you talking about
bring
this?
back, what was that famous
Gone with
movie?
the Wind.
Gone with the Wind. Whatever.
Hollywood Boulevard.
But I think it's also good to understand that, yeah, dude, you are not on that same level. Like, I think it's a fair point to say, yeah, dude, I'm not worth $1 billion.
Sure.
I don't get all the same,
But do you think that gives billionaires the right to disrespect you?
well, disrespect, I wouldn't say no, but if I'm ever in their circles, no, I don't think it's about giving them the right. But at the end of the day, I have no power or influence over that.
I mean, that rich guy never really disrespected the dude to his face.
No,
he was hiding under a table when he heard it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, this whole thing is not directed. He was never truly rude to them as people. They never really disrespect. They were all pretty fair, I think, most of the time.
Well, I guess the thing is just like, well, they don't even just consider their feelings. That's the problem.
No, but fuck that. You do it too. We all do it. If you see a homeless dude on the street,
but that's the point of the people that are in the fucking basement. Because that's the point, is that everybody does this to somebody. Everybody is better off than somebody else.
Right.
It's all relative.
Yeah,
and then at the end of the movie, they're like, well, that was fun that we talked about that in a great way, and now we're just now we're gonna do this.
I don't know what you're talking. I don't know. I didn't see that. I didn't. Nope. I thought it was a really good way to end the story, as far as he put himself through their own gluttony and greed. They put themselves in that prison.
And the only way to get him back is to become the thing that you despise.
Well, it's not even about despise. They don't even necessarily despise the rich people. They don't despise them.
No, in literal terms. Oh no, they think they're stupid and they think they're better than them. Their arrogance is what gets them.
Exactly. Yeah. This has nothing to do with it's a lot to do with class. It's the parasite is in each and every one of us. And that's the thing, is that you are your own downfall. You
Sure.
are the rich people had nothing to do with their downfall at any point in the story.
No.
They were the ones that were the downfall of the people in the cave, the ground, under whatever, the secret bunker thing. They were the downfall of themselves.
Yeah,
They were
because
the
everybody
downfall of
has to
art.
fuck somebody to get something. That's the point.
Yeah, that's yeah, you could say that, but I think it's even
That
more
is
than that. No, it's not
that is
about.
what it is.
If that's what the people want to view it as, it's fine. I just don't view it as the saying that you have to fuck somebody.
Yeah, but that's what the movie is saying. In
I don't
reality, you
care,
don't.
Shaun. I don't care what the movie's trying to say. I'm telling you what I'm saying as far as what the movie makes me
No.
feel.
Well, the movie did not make you feel that. What did the movie make you feel? Hold on.
What? The movie made me feel that this is all self-destructive behavior.
Sure,
It's like,
that's an
and
element.
you weave your own
But where does
path
the self-destructiveness? Why do people become self-destructive that way?
because of money and greed.
Because of capitalism.
Sure. And if you saying that the son making the complete and utter choice to just screw his best friend and try to fuck the
Yeah.
chick that's like 16,
Because you
it has-
gotta fuck
it has-
somebody to get somewhere. That's the message.
Oh well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Because
But,
that's what capitalism does to people. It commodifies people. That's what the movie's saying. I'm not saying. I mean, there are sectors of capitalism. It's not a perfect system. It's better than the alternative.
I don't think it has. I don't. For me, it wasn't about capitalism. It was about you wanting to get out of where the situation, in which the only way you can is with money and resources.
How do you get this? By
Work.
which system? What is it?
Yeah,
Would
but
you be participating
but the family, we don't know their background and how they are, or
I
where
know,
they're
but
at.
you're saying capitalism without using the word.
No, it is capitalism. Sure, you can use it
I
as
know.
a generalized statement,
But
but
that's
it's
what I'm
not about capitalism.
No, that's part. It's part of it. It's not
Yeah,
the
but
whole thing. It's not the salad,
smallest
baby.
part. It's the
That's
smallest part.
That's the bacon bits on top.
It's the smallest
Yeah,
part.
but it ends up being not the smallest part when you look at it in its totality. When you look at the broad
I don't agree.
flourish of the movie, it's talking about the way classes interact with each other, and it's talking about why classes interact the way they do, and the things that people will do to get something or get somewhere. Or
Sure, it has nothing to do with capitalism at that point.
capitalism is the mechanism by which those things happen.
Yeah, fine.
Because you live within a capitalist system.
Yeah, but it's not
gotta
about
utilize those
no,
tools.
because
That's what the movie is.
no, it's just not what it's saying. I'm sorry. Is that like they had to lie to get into those positions, right?
Yes,
But
yes.
this is the problem. It was one job in the beginning. They went after more than what they fucking should have. If it would have been just the son, just there working, all of the story would have been propelled. Nothing would have happened. It's their own gluttony and greed.
Yeah,
Which is- it has nothing-
What's the driving, motivating factor? What's
Yeah,
underneath
money,
all that?
obviously, money, right? But that doesn't matter. The money it's fictitious.
Look at these
Money's
eyebrows.
money's not real. It's not real. So
No,
in the sense it is, sure,
I
but
know.
it doesn't matter. It
I
doesn't
know.
matter that much to me. At least when I view it, it's
But
just it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but that is what was motivating them, so it does matter. It's what motivates the characters.
No, it wasn't. It was their own selfishness.
Yes.
It's not. It's not. The money is just like the thing you can put in front and say this. They can throw the capitalist system out front and say this is why. But the capitalist system will exist with or without them being there. So the thing
Yes.
is, how do you get to that next level?
That's
How
the-
do you do it?
Yes,
And it has nothing to do with the
Yeah, but-
capitalist system.
The argument is like you're trying to make like a reality argument, and I'm talking about the confines of this movie and what
I just
the
disagree.
movie has to say about the nature of capitalism and what it makes people want or what it makes people do.
Cool. Name me a but like it doesn't matter to me because you can take any system,
Sure.
doesn't matter what it is,
Yeah,
and those abuses still happen.
Well, we
so
don't.
It doesn't
We
matter.
don't live in a not capitalistic society. So the critique is about capitalism,
Who doesn't?
not about fantasy.
But
whatever.
who doesn't?
We don't. The characters don't. South
They
Korea,
live.
South
There's a
Korea's
classist system. They're a classist system.
South Korea is capitalist. Those
Yeah, they are.
capitalist-
They are. But they have their own versions of classes and rich and poor, right? Just
Yeah,
like anywhere
well,
else.
they just have
But they
cultural
get, but
values.
they make those means by capitalism.
Yes.
But you could have the same effect in a true classes system like India, where there is complete caste, like a caste system.
Yeah,
Those people, those are
that's miserable.
right. But that's what I'm saying.
But
But it has
that's
nothing
not.
to do with capitalism.
Yeah, but
It's
that's
about just the human
no.
nature.
You're talking, but those are two separate things. I mean, it doesn't, like you said, like it doesn't matter which system it happens within. But the fact of the matter is that it happens within a capitalist system in this story. So that
Okay,
is
so
what
what?
the movie is dealing with. So just
Sure.
because you could broadly say human nature would dictate that people would take advantage no matter what,
Yeah.
it's not doesn't matter.
No, but that's not. I don't fucking care about. What I'm telling you is, I don't think it's a forefront thing. I don't think it's a thing that matters as much as their own greed and their own selfishness, and that's what led to their downfall.
And I'm saying that the
Whether
foundation
it's
of what motivates those feelings and those behaviors, the movie is saying, is capitalist endeavor.
sure.
No, but that's what motivates those feelings. That's why
Right.
they feel that way.
Okay, but it could be in any. It doesn't matter.
I understand that, but
It could be cheating at a sport. It doesn't matter.
That's why I think the movie is a little silly. It gets a little dissonant towards the end because it doesn't stick its landing, because it makes it about something that's kind of besides the point of the movie you've been watching. It's just
I don't. I've
it's
never
a
saw that
shallow,
correlation.
it's a super shallow critique, kind of just modern day, just whatever, just like, oh, evil, rich, like capitalism is evil, jerk off, with no substance to it whatsoever.
I never got that vibe watching that movie ever.
Well, I watched it twice.
Well, I don't know. I just never got the vibe that it's trying to say that capitalism is evil. But
well, I know, I can tell you for a fact that Bong Joon-ho literally says that. So
I'm sure that's probably one of his themes. But he can't.
Unless his translator is really lying to all of us.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. And then you could say to him, well, then how the fuck did you get where you're at? So shut the hell up.
No. The great irony is that, like,
these
you know what they did with that house when they were done filming? They built that house. It's a real house. You know what they did with it?
They tore it down.
They bulldozed it. So they spent, I don't know, like $1 million building that house.
Yeah.
Just to fucking bulldoze it. Fucking capitalist pigs, man.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know much about that.
Capitalism is the reason why people could go see Parasite in the theater.
It's just, listen. It's all, if people are out here trying to make some sort of political statement, whatever, do it while you're sitting there living in your nice house.
Yes.
Doing your shit, whatever. Like, I don't care. So to me doesn't take the focal point of the movie, because maybe it's because I would find it so hypocritical that I just don't even want to view. Like, it doesn't take up the forefront form of the, it's in the background.
Bernie Sanders voter confirmed. Look at this guy.
Absolutely.
Like, do you like his consistency or his honesty the most?
Neither, because he's not in either direction.
Well,
but
he's consistent, but
not at all. Not at all. If you actually look back from even 2015 to 2000 now,
his beliefs are pretty
20.
consistent. He's advocated for the same shit since the 80s. It's never been good.
No, well, maybe his economic policies, but other policies, like his foreign policies and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's stuff.
Because he used to be very closely aligned to Trump in that region, and now
they all were.
Yeah,
because it's just common sense to protect your borders for trade.
Well, Bloomberg fucking shit on him the other night, since we're talking about classism and such, and he goes, "Hey, you know what's funny? The only socialism out here is the dude that has 3 homes and worth millions of dollars."
The country's most famous socialist has 3 houses.
I live I work in Washington D.C. That's where what is. I have a
but
he
just named where they were, and then he's like, thousands of people in Vermont have summer homes. I was like, how many people live in Vermont, Bernie?
I don't know.
How many of them have summer
million?
homes?
But no, I think it's just ironic, and this is a problem, and I think within the greater scope of society is that we're gonna, and it maybe even the movie could say this in a way, but you can't rely on the people in the system, right? And this is what the movie would be trying to say, I guess. Excuse me. Can't rely people on the system to help the poor. You got to go take it yourself. Kind of like the Joker.
But the Parasite is saying that that's not.
Dude, you can't keep saying that. That's not what it's saying. That's what it says to you.
No, well,
that's not what it's saying. That's what it says to you.
I'm fairly confident, because it's not saying that their behavior is supposed to be revealed as bad behavior.
Yeah,
at
but
the end of the second act. Like that's the whole point of me. Like I said, the crux of the movie is when you meet the guy living in the basement. Like that is
I know.
the
I
big
got it.
pivot point.
I got it.
I
It doesn't
got
matter.
it.
It doesn't matter to me. I
Ah.
think art is interpretation. Art is
Oh
interpretation.
my
You
God,
can believe what you want.
you're a disgusting postmodernist. What does
Yeah.
it mean? What does Shakespeare? What is Hamlet really about? Well, it's about a dwarf,
Yeah.
and he's I just read him as
No,
short.
I just don't necessarily agree with the interpretation, but there's got to be we got someone like Bernie Sanders who's trying to run for political office, and he is a democratic socialist.
He just
When all the quote unquote democratic socialist countries have basically said, "Dude, fucking stop saying that you're like us. We're not socialist.
well,
We're
yeah.
not any way involved in that." So it just doesn't matter.
Well,
But
it's a long conversation, but it's also just like these other countries they mentioned. You're like are nothing like the makeup of the United States. Don't have near the population. You're like
it's just ridiculous, and
these
not to mention they're
systems are not
homogenous.
they're not either completely homogenized. They have like one export each.
Yeah.
Like they're not like us at all. Like in
No.
terms of functionality, and half the time it fucking fails. They always have to change it. It's never like
Well,
the
it's
same thing.
no, it
But
never stays into some sort of true socialist.
because
Look,
people
France
go
is failing now.
because they go broke. They go fucking broke.
Yep. Capitalism's the way to go, baby. Even if a few people got to die to make it happen. So
Parasite get
that's what they
inside of
say.
you like a Bernie Sanders worm, and it'll
Yeah.
teach you about your feelings, like young Daniel here.
Yes.
He's all in the fields right now. He can't even see the larger tapestry that's been painted. He's too close to the painting.
I guess
He's too
so.
close to it. Envision a giant picture of Bernie Sanders made up of little tiny pictures of other things. Dan's like looking at like four of these, but he's so close to it.
Right.
He's so close to it, everybody.
Very good. Very good.
Now I need you to step back. Take a deep breath. Do it with me. Now.
Yeah. No, I think it's just the movie was good.
So mad. You wanna roar?
I just
Deep
think
breath.
he it's like, come on. No, I think the movie's good though. Let's just check it out. You know, that's my boat. Is whatever you feel about capitalism or not, I would definitely give it a watch at least.
Yeah,
You know, and
it's a very interesting movie, and I think it's part of the fun of it is actually being able to talk about it afterwards.
yeah, no, I think that's definitely, and it's also a good introduction to Korean film. I would say.
Yes, I would.
Like it could be a good introduction to
I'd
it.
tell you to go watch Old Boy first.
Nah,
If I
go
were
watch.
gonna
I,
show
I saw
people-
the devil.
Ooh,
I
I
saw
saw
the
that was
devil.
another good one.
That one's like so good. That's better than Old Boy in my opinion.
Ooh, no, I think Old Boy's a better movie, but I do like I Saw the Devil. I Saw the Devil's like a little too long. It's almost 3 hours long. It's like two and
I
a
don't
half hours.
care. I fucking catch and release film is sick. It's good. I would definitely go check out. What's his name? Boom John Ho or whatever.
Bong Joon-ho.
Bong
Yeah,
Joon-ho.
his other movies are great. Snowpiercer is actually pretty solid. That's another movie that's about class and classism and elitism. It's actually like basically like fuck you, Ayn Rand. It's like fuck libertarianism. That's kind of what Snowpiercer is all about. But yeah, I enjoyed it as well. Definitely go see it. Check it out when it hits your local rental space. Or you could be a nut. You could buy it. You can get real wild, get real crazy. Buy that thing. Spin that disc.
Yeah, I would definitely say, or go digital. You know, save the planet. Right.
Go both,
That's what
baby.
they say.
Go both. Do both. Get it twice. Buy it twice.
Buy it 3 times. No, I would definitely say go check it out. I would highly recommend it. Just to go give it a watch.
It's so well made that it's like even if I like you said, like even if I disagree with some of the subtext or some of the messaging, it's well worth your time.
Yeah.
Like
I agree with that.
these kind of movies don't come out every year. Like these kind of movies that are made this well come out like once every 5 years. It's to me this is like when a David Fincher makes a movie. David Fincher makes exactly the movie that he intends to make is what you see. No matter how long it takes him to get there.
You can really nurture it.
But yeah. So that's going to do it for us this episode. Check out Parasite. Check out The King. Check out Outlaw King. Support your Netflix. Hey, Foster. Gotta go. All right. So we'll talk to you next week when we watch something.
Something.
Dan's gonna pick it. He's gonna pick us gonna pick a good one.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll find out. Stay tuned,
see.
everybody.
That's what I was hoping. I was like, this thing better be good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spent fucking $70 on it.
Yeah, that's a lot of ramen.
Yeah.
You fucked that up, dog.
Yeah.
Ugh.